spend a winter day with me during Christmas season here on the homestead. I am making a classic breakfast that I make a lot, but I don't know if I have made for you before. And I've got another thrift haul to show you. I filmed this video on a Friday, and Fridays are our day off school. So we were up late the night before and we all slept in. If we're going to sleep in, it's going to happen on Friday, even more so than on the weekends, because on the weekends I want to get up and get a big breakfast going because my husband is home. But Fridays are just really laid back around here. So I always start the day with my supplements, especially when I'm pregnant. I make sure to do that. I've told you guys before, I really wish we lived in a world where we didn't need supplements because the air quality and soil quality and everything was great and clean, but we don't live in that world. I don't live in that world. I live in a pretty modern world, and so do you. So I think there's room to supplement. And I do have my supplements. I've talked about them somewhere. I don't remember, but I'll try to link that in the description for you guys. So another thing that I do on Fridays is linens. I like to wash linens since we don't have school. We don't have a lot going on. This is a good day to get that extra load of laundry done. So the black mats that you see on my bed here, I've showed you them before, but I really just can't speak of them highly enough. They are grounding mats or earthing mats. So if you don't know what that is, then I will attach a link in the description to a documentary here on YouTube, and you can learn all about it. But it's made a big difference since we started using them. My husband said he's a really tall guy and he works in construction. He's just got a lot of like back and knee pain and stuff. But he says that he has felt so much better ever since we started using these. And one thing I have noticed, I would say this is the biggest thing for me, is that I used to get pregnancy carpal tunnel really bad. And I am in my 3rd trimester. I have not had it at all this pregnancy. And that's the only thing I've done different. By the way, I'm looking out the window. If you saw me looking out the window, I was looking out at our cows. We have a pretty view. We can see out into the lot where they are. So I actually filmed this like a little bit before Christmas, and I did have some gifts that kind of arrived last minute. I was just sorting through those. And like I said, since we went to bed late last night, we stayed up late, I am doing my tidying this morning. This is something that usually gets done at night. I like to go to bed with a mostly tidy house. That way I can get up and get going on my day. You know, especially with homeschooling, I really need to stay on top of it. I talked about this recently in an Instagram post and got a lot of feedback. You guys could relate, but you know, when you're not prepared in the morning, and your kids wake up, they come running out, you feel like you're playing catch up all day. You're just behind all day. So I don't like that. On school nights, I tidy up at night as much as possible so I'm ready to go in the morning. But Thursday nights, that's when the kids' weekend starts. And like I said, I'm just a little more lax. So that's okay. I can get my tidying done in the morning because I let them sleep in as long as they want on Friday mornings. And you know, you see the baby up because if you've ever had babies and toddlers, you know, they don't really sleep in. At least most don't. So even though the house is mostly quiet in the morning when I get up because the big kids are still sleeping, the toddler is still awake. And when I have the baby, I'm sure the baby will be awake, and that's fine. You know, just give them a snack. They get like 2 breakfasts, right? The little ones that wake up early. You know, just let them get up early with you. That's what they're going to do. Nurse the baby, have a snack ready for the toddler, let them tag along as you do your morning prep work, and wait for the big kids to wake up. The most important thing in my book is being prepared by the time those big kids wake up so that they can get a start on their day. So it was really warm today. Well, at least in the morning. It actually cooled off a lot later. So I'm walking down to get the cat, which that's her name. It's Cat or Kitty. She sleeps up in these hay bales at night. That's what she likes to do. She likes to be outside in the barns at night, and she jumps right down when she hears us coming. It's really cute. But anyway, we waited too long to name her, and now she just wants to be called Cat. So she is Cat. But anyway, I have, just a sort of little checklist of things that I like to get done in the morning before the big kids wake up. And the big kids have their checklist too. I have an actual checklist for them. Cat was very excited to be inside, by the way. I'm going to get going on some dishes. This is something I would have done the night before if it was a school night, but that's okay. Anyway, the kids have their morning checklist too. I actually have a list hanging in the hall that goes into the kids' rooms, and there's a morning section, an evening section, and a weekly chore section. This is simple stuff. It's stuff that is like on repeat. They need to do every day, and that way I'm not repeating myself like a broken record, telling them every day over and over to do the same things. They have their list, and there are certain tasks that they are expected to have completed in the morning before they come out into the living room and kitchen for breakfast. And it's like I said, it's simple stuff. Just make your bed, brush your teeth, get dressed, tidy your room if it didn't get done the night before, which it should have gotten done the night before, but if not, then tidy your room. Come out in the living room, get started on school if I am still making breakfast, and then we can eat breakfast. It's that simple. So, since I have a lot more time on Fridays, I do more deep cleaning, I guess you would say, especially in the kitchen. I like to go into the weekend with a clean kitchen, and my stove gets used regularly. I mean, it's 3 meals a day, and a lot of cooking from scratch. So, as you can see, it gets very dirty. So, I like to clean this at least once a week. Now, since I am cleaning my stovetop, then I won't be able to use it, but that's okay. I am going to make a Dutch baby pancake, or a German pancake. It's also called sometimes. That's what I'm going to make for breakfast, and that is something that you bake in the oven. I make mine in a cast iron skillet. So you'll see how I do that. But Dutch babies are so simple, and you use lots of eggs. So I like that. Eggs and milk, you're getting your protein in. It's basically just a ratio of eggs, milk, and flour. You can add a little sugar, a little vanilla if you want to, but it's a really, really simple breakfast. I will put this recipe in the description as well. And this is actually recipe I do not have on my blog. I have a sourdough Dutch baby on my blog, but you can taste the sourdough. It's got more of a sour flavor, and it doesn't puff up really big like you'll see this one do. So I need to put this on my blog, just a standard Dutch baby pancake. And I actually took pictures today, so I could do just that. So maybe by the time you're watching this, I will have that blog post up and have that linked. So one reason that I like to make mine in a cast iron skillet is I preheat the skillet beforehand, get it like piping hot in the oven at 425, add some butter, and let that butter brown in the skillet in the oven for just 1 or 2 minutes. You don't want it to smoke out your whole house, just a minute or two. Then I pour in my Dutch baby batter, and that browned butter bottom is just a special treat. It just adds that extra touch, that pizzazz that we're always going for. That's our favorite word when we're cooking. We always want a little bit of pizzazz. So it's this easy. Just mix up your ingredients in a bowl, pour them into a preheated cast iron skillet with some brown butter, and let it bake. That's all. You can get creative with toppings, but I usually just do some butter, some maple syrup, and powdered sugar. So I'm cleaning off my stove top now, and you can see that I'm using this little brown scraper. It's the little Pampered Chef scrapers. Those are like one of my favorite little tools to have in the kitchen. I use them for so many things. I clean my enamel coated cast iron with them. Um, anything that you would be putting a lot of elbow grease into, just soak it, use some baking soda, and use one of those little brown scrapers, and it saves you a lot of work. So I'll link those too because they're dirt cheap. They come in like packs of 12, and I always make sure to have those on hand. So since I was cleaning my stovetop and just taking my time this morning, I have not made my coffee yet. Going to do that. Going to get going on that. And this has been such an enjoyable pregnancy for many reasons. It's gone really well, no complications. Everything's pretty standard and straightforward. But one special little treat this pregnancy is that I've been able to have coffee. So in my fourth pregnancy, my last one, I was not able to tolerate coffee. And that was not very fun. Okay, so this is the Dutch baby. How pretty is that? If you have had them before, then you know what it looks like. But they're just so fun. I love that they come out of the oven so puffy and golden brown and pretty, but they do kind of sink down really quickly, and that's normal. That's what it's supposed to do. But they come out really puffy and they don't stay that way long, so I had to get my pictures quickly. Anyway, just gonna get my coffee poured here. But yeah, I don't really know why I'm tolerating it better this time. I'm more consistent with my magnesium supplement and also selenium and iodine. So mag, selenium, iodine. Those are three things that I'm doing consistently this time that I wasn't doing last time. And then also the grounding mats. I mean, those are the only changes I can think of. So is that making the difference? Is that why I can tolerate coffee now? I don't know. Who knows? But I know that they're all good things that I personally needed. So, like I said, it was a really beautiful day today, like unseasonably warm. So since I was washing my linens, I just washed my quilt, my big quilt that is on my bed too, and thought that if I got that done really early, I could line dry it. And I wasn't sure if it would get dry on the line, but it did end up line drying just fine. This is something that I really miss in the colder months. I don't get to use my clothesline as much, but in the spring, summer, and fall, my clothesline is always full. Now, it's been a while since I have washed cloth diapers because the toddler is potty trained. He wears pull ups sometimes if we go out somewhere. Um, but it's about that time. I should probably think about starting to go through my diaper stash and make sure that everything's ready and prepped. I've got a little bit before the baby comes, but it just comes up so quick. It really does fly by in the third trimester, so better to be prepared. All right, so I'm just getting some potatoes ready for baking. We've got some parties to go to this weekend, and I'm making twice baked potatoes. I actually made these for you guys on either the last video or one of my last videos, so I'll link that if you want to see this whole process, because I didn't show the whole process in this video. But on Fridays, I always have something cooking because I'm just trying to get ahead for the weekend, prep for any events that we have, or just prep food for us so that I can relax, chill out a little bit on the weekend. All right, now is the fun part. I am bringing in the treasures from my latest thrift haul. So you see a beautiful quilt rack there that I brought in. I've got a big stack of frames, um, another quilt rack that you'll see me bring in. Yes, two quilt racks, but I'll explain. I just couldn't pass them up. Such good deals. And the cutest little vintage folding tables. So I found all of that I just showed you, by the way, was $31. And I had $20 credit at the thrift shop because I bring stuff in. When my kids outgrow clothes or we just don't need something, then I bring it in. So I had $20 credit. I paid, or was it $33? I think I paid like 13 cash. So however that ended up working out, but so many treasures for not that much money. I was very pleased with that. So I found frames that went just perfectly together and will go well on either side of my armoire in our entryway here. I had a really pretty vintage frame hanging above my rubber tree, but I didn't have anything to go on the other side that went well with it. So I'm switching things out a little bit. Now, these frames, the prints in them are very ugly. They're ugly, they're dated, but that's okay because the little frames that I'm hanging now, the one to the left, and I'm hanging one just like it to the right, were $1 a piece. And then I have one that goes with it really well. I mean, it practically matches it exactly, but it's just a little bit bigger, and it was $2. By the way, I use these little hooks for hanging most everything, as long as it's not really heavy, because my husband, it gives him anxiety when I drill holes in the wall. Now, sometimes it just needs to be done, but when I can get away with using the little hooks, then that's good. So anyway, both of these frames on either side of the armoire were $1 a piece, and this big frame was $2. So $4 right here. And I can just replace these ugly prints with pretty prints that I will find on Etsy and then have printed locally at a print shop that does like really high quality printing. So I'm just trying to figure out if I want to place this larger frame vertically or horizontally. So I was standing back and then I would actually go pause the video on my camera and watch it to see what I liked better. Okay, so I really liked it vertically, but there's only a bracket to hang it horizontally, so I just found some small screws, really small screws here, two of them, and I will screw those in like on either side, and then just use a piece of wire or twine to make a little hanger, and that will do the trick. I do this all the time because I buy old frames all the time, and I just find ways to make them work. I have told you all this before, but if I need to use power tools, I do it when John is not home. Like I said, it just gives him anxiety. Well, it's kind of like when he does things that are like normally in my domain, it gives me anxiety. Like if he would like fold laundry, I'd be like, oh, you're just not doing it right. You guys might not like to hear that because I know it's super popular that everything's 50-50 these days, but we just like having our own tasks that we are in charge of and that we do well. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And it's kind of funny when one of us steps in and tries to do the other one's job because it's never going to be quite as good. So these frames look really pretty here, but like I said, I'm excited to replace the ugly prints with pretty prints. All right, now this huge piece of art here was also $1. And at first I was like, I'm not crazy about that, the actual art, but the frame is solid and it was really pretty. Then I showed my daughter and she said it would go perfect in her room, and she was right. So I was just trying to figure out how I was going to hang that in her room. I decided to wait for her and ask her if she wanted to keep that print and just hang it vertically, which we would have to hang it vertically if we kept the print, or get a new one. So she did want to keep the print that was in there, which made my job easy. So far I have showed you 4 frames and they cost $5 altogether. Now this quilt rack was, let's see, $6.99, dirt cheap, and it was just so cute. I couldn't pass it up. Plus, I've told you, I've showed you, we have so many quilts, and I had them in the armoire up front, but I would love to display them all. Recently, I showed you that I had gotten a quilt rack at the thrift shop. Well, I found this one. We have more quilts, so I got it too. Now, I also found these adorable little folding tables with this vintage pattern. They were $2, and there were 4 of them. So I couldn't pass. Had to get these 2. Just so cute, and I thought they would be perfect to have for the kids if they wanted to sit in the living room and do their homework, or just for whatever. Now, the second quilt rack I got is probably my favorite. So pretty. Just look at that detail. I put this one in the nursery. It goes absolutely beautiful in there, and it was $7.99. Such a steal. Okay, so I am actually sitting here right now ordering prints for the new frames, because if I don't do it now, I'm very likely to let them hang like they are for months and months with the ugly ones. So I'm just going to get it done. It's so cheap to go on Etsy, spend a few bucks for beautiful prints, have them printed locally, and it really does transform the frames. Now this little Santa, sleigh, and reindeer, was the last item from my thrift haul. It was just super cute. Um, and the kids liked it, so I did get that. So that all of that brought my total to $33, something like that. I can't really remember, but it was such a good day at the thrift shop. That was actually yesterday that I got all that. I was just getting around to getting it out today. So it is, I think like 4 something, but it is already getting dark in my kitchen. That's, one thing about winter, it gets dark so early. So I just put a whole chicken in the Instant Pot. Absolutely love the Instant Pot. Comes in clutch all the time. And my linens are all clean. I'm going to make my bed and wrap up my work because John should be getting home soon. And once he gets home, then, the weekend has really started, like really started, even though the kids' weekend started last night on Thursday night because their school week's over. When he gets home, I don't want to be running around working, so I just want to get all of this finished. Even though I'm going to get into this bed and sleep in a few short hours, the bed still must be made. I have to make my bed. Um, I just can't even tell you the last time I laid down and slept in an unmade bed. I really don't know. It's been years. This is just something I have to do. My husband thinks that's crazy. He doesn't understand why I insist that the bed is always made, but it just has to be that way. Anyway, we're moving right along. A couple days later here, I ordered my prints from Etsy, which those are just downloads. So then I emailed the local print shop and it was like $5. And I actually had 6 things printed. So not just what I needed for these 3 frames, but I had 6 things printed and it's so cheap. So this project altogether was, let's see, the frames, these 3 you're looking at here. The frames were $4. The prints were maybe $3 a piece. It's not a piece, a peach, a piece. It's 9, so $13, and then 5 for printing. Under $20 for pretty unique decor for my home. So I have a pretty nativity scene and a print of the Angelus by Millet and also the Storm on the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt. Now, the Rembrandt print ended up being too small for the frame. I was so disappointed, but it was under $1 for that one single print. So it's this one I'm hanging up right now. I wanted it to take up the whole frame. I didn't want to have to use that backing. So I will just have it reprinted. It will be under $1. I'll have it reprinted the right size and I'll be good to go. But they turned out so well. It's kind of hard to see with the reflection. This is the Nativity, and all of these were from Etsy. I'll link these. I don't know if you guys are interested, but I will link these for you. This is the Angelus by Millet, and then the Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which is just a beautiful, beautiful piece of art that I have always wanted to have a copy of in my home. Now, I told you I had some other things printed too. I had prints done for the nursery, so we're coming along on the gallery wall. We're getting there. I've still got some empty frames, still got some empty spaces, but we are making progress. So I'll keep you posted. I'll show you when it's all finished. All right, so I am making a 1-pot meal tonight that takes under 30 minutes. It's so easy. Kind of had a busy day, so this is what it is. This is creamy chicken bow tie pasta with sun-dried tomatoes. I just diced up some chicken thighs, seasoned them with poultry seasoning, and sauteed them in some olive oil. Then I added 6 cups of bone broth. I believe it was 10 ounces, 10 to 12 ounces of dried bow tie pasta, whatever comes in the box. I'll put the recipe in the description. And I let that pasta simmer. So this is all in one pot. Just let that simmer until the pasta was cooked. Poured in 1 cup of heavy cream, 2 cups of cheese, and my sun-dried tomatoes. Season with salt and pepper, and that's it. That is it. This is so simple. I love 1-pot quick meals to just have on hand 4 times when, time gets away from me. So this 1-pot wonder wraps up this week's video. I'll have lots of links in the description for you, and I will see you next week.